Hey, fellas, welcome to the Power Six Podcast. Here's your host, Isaiah Rose.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Thank you for the intro there, Hadley. This week, tough loss to Michigan. We are now
Whoa,
owned
whoa, whoa.
by the state of Michigan.
Michigan State?
Michigan State. Okay,
Twice.
we've been fucking up, but no, we are now owned by the state of Michigan. But good news, we own the state of Illinois. And with that being said, what do we got going, Max?
That's true. Yes, we do. Typical agenda this week, and we have the first edition of the Power Six members' top six rankings. Four playoff teams, first two out. We are going to do it. We didn't do it last week because we have a longer pod, but now with the second week of the CFP rankings, we are going to get those in. So we'll get to those after all of our reactions to this weekend's action, and we will start with a disappointing loss for the Huskers in East Lansing. Michigan State wins 20-17. That one sucked. It wasn't a good performance. I think the difference in the game was Heinrich Harburg played really bad, and our special teams got outplayed. Their punter averaged like 50-something yards a punt, and Buschini had his worst game so far as a Husker probably. I think he averaged 28 yards a punt with a shank in there. That was the difference in the game. When you're minus like 20 yards in the punting game, I mean, that's how you lose Big Ten football. So, and the fact that we're catching balls on the 5-yard line. So the quarterback play and the special teams were big storylines as to why the Huskers lost.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know why we kept catching balls in the 5-yard line. Let them go and see what happens. Like,
I agree.
It was frustrating. The whole thing was. Heinrich Harburg, definitely not his best game of the season, probably his worst. We can see there's a lack of depth for our quarterbacks because he's the best we have right now. I don't want to see Jeff Sims anymore, and I don't know how much I trust Purdy since we haven't really seen him this season. And then honestly, our defense was okay. They didn't look great, they did the past couple weeks. And then Marcus Scatterfield was looking scatterbrained all weekend. I don't know why we didn't run the ball more. We really should have. Our run game was working. Pass game was not. We just got to go with what we got going and roll with it. I don't know why we can't reinvent the wheel. We just got to keep going with what we got.
Yeah, I'm gonna quickly run. I was kind of bored the last 2 days at work, so I had some notes on the game. So I'm gonna run through those real quick. Absolutely hated Billy Kemp catching punts. He was no threat. He was just out there to catch them, and he kept on fucking catching them in the 10-yard line, like Isaiah said. Fucking let that shit go. Heine cannot throw. He cannot throw the ball. All of his balls are high and away. His arm angle is sidearm, so his throws get blocked super easily, and then a wide receiver, tight end have to make a great catch to grab it and get it, make a play. Defense didn't play bad, but not amazing, which we're going to have those days, and it's just up to our offense to actually score fucking points, and they can't. Okay, this is a I want to hear your guys' thoughts here. The turnover margin for Nebraska. I don't know if you guys have looked it up or not, but I want you guys to take a guess at the whole season. What is our turnover margin right now?
Probably
I think it's like minus 11 or 12, right?
I was gonna say minus 23.
I'm going to go – I think it's like minus 13, 14 maybe.
Connor, you got to guess.
What?
Turnover margin for Nebraska?
On the season?
Yeah.
Like plus 10.
We are minus 12.
Sorry, that's what I meant. Minus.
Yeah. I know what you meant. Minus 12 turnovers this season. We cannot protect the fucking ball. We are 127 out of 130 in the turnover margin. And it's really close. Like, we're one off from the last, two. So it's ridiculous. The refs didn't have a great game. That's not why we lost. They missed the PI call on Malachi Coleman. That turned into an interception the very next play. Blown TD call for Michigan State. It hit the ground. They're saying the ball didn't move, whatever. I didn't think it was a touchdown. Didn't review the fumble on the final play, but we also went really quick. You know, that's
They
not why
spotted
we
us short of that first down too, which it was
spotted us short of that
yeah,
first
it was
down.
bad.
It wasn't great. It wasn't why we lost. We shouldn't have been in that position anyway. And then I have to ask. Isaiah already kind of touched on it a little bit, but I have to ask. Do we see Chuba? Jeff Sims is
That's
gone.
so fucking ridiculous, man.
I love this. All right.
I
This
knew
is
somebody was
every
gonna
week.
say that.
Do we see Chuba? Fucking Heinrich sucks.
Dude,
He sucks.
Heinrich won 5 games this year. We watched Chuba play last year. He is no better. I mean, we just don't have a good quarterback. I mean, this week was literally we played the exact same this week that we did the previous 3 weeks, and we won those 3 games. And nobody was talking about Chuba then. It's just this time we happened to lose. Like we were negative turnover margin against Northwestern, Illinois, and Purdue, but we happened to win all of them. This week was no different. The only thing that didn't happen was we didn't have like a big play, which Heinrich Carver was able to come through with a big pass every week previously. And this week he didn't do it. Like we just don't have a good quarterback. That's it. And I like Harburg. He's the guy.
See, I like Harburg for where we're at right now. We touched on it last week, I believe. We don't have our quarterback for next year currently on the roster. So we got to deal with what we've got for this year, and hopefully next year we get something better. But like Brad said, he's not accurate. We saw on his first interception, he had Bullock for a touchdown, and he threw it nowhere near him. And it, got picked off. And that, the missed PI, the next play was an interception. He's not accurate at all. And it's tough to see when he plays bad. There's no the offense is kind of out of sync. They didn't look very smooth this week. It's brutal to watch when things don't go our way like they have in the past couple weeks.
What I will say about Harburg is, yeah, it looks bad, but consider the fact he hasn't played football in 3 years, 2 years. He's just been riding pine. He has not played actual football in over 2 years. Probably wasn't getting coached up great last year. We know how Scott Frost felt about him. And also he got sacked 8 times, I think. That's add all that up. The guy is not going to play very good. And
I think he is to be blamed for some of those sacks, though.
I agree. He does not move very well. And there were a couple of them where he looked like he just crumpled to avoid a hit. I don't know if he's doing that subconsciously because he has gotten whacked this year. But I think that there's nobody on the sideline that is going to do better than what Harburg's doing.
Yeah, this game kind of just confirmed the unfortunate reality to me, which is that if our defense has an average game, our offense can't win the game for us. That's just not going to happen. Our defense has to win us the game. We were -3 in turnovers, and that's a 3-point loss, which is pretty incredible because we've had minus turnover margin in the last 3 games, and we won those. We almost won another with a -3 turnover margin. But the offense just is not built to go win games. The defense, is just going to have to play lights out. In this game, they played average. So it's unfortunate that that's kind of the difference in the game because we know the special teams sucked and the offense sucked. But then it's kind of well, the defense has to be the one to win games. And it was the last 3 weeks. And it was, they only allowed 63 rush yards to Michigan State. 2.0 yards per carry. Nebraska moves into the 3rd ranked rushing defense in the country.
Yeah. You know what Nick Boss said earlier this week, which now did really hit home for me. The defense has to play like Madison Bumgarner in the 2014 playoffs. They literally can't allow a run, or they can't mess up at all for us to win because you're right. We didn't mention this enough. Our special teams was terrible. We got outplayed so hard on special teams. Our offense didn't really get outplayed that much. We had put up 17 points. But the special teams, they got an F for the day. And Michigan State got an A for the day.
Yeah,
game was a huge difference.
Matt Rule said we're not gonna be fair catching shit. I know it was for the kickoffs, but I haven't seen us really try to return a kickoff. I mean, even if it's short in the end zone, our guys are still not catching it and not trying to run it out. I'd love to see that somebody catch it and try to make a play, because our offense needs the yards. You know, starting at the 25-yard line is not working for us. The punt situation, like Headley said, we can't touch on it enough. Our special teams was horrible this game.
Yeah, our average starting field position, I believe, was 10 yards worse than Michigan State, which doesn't sound like a lot, but that is a pretty big difference. And then when you add, like, if you have 13 possessions or 14 a game, let's just say 13 possessions. I don't know how many possessions we had. 13 possessions in a game, that's a 130-yard difference. That's a football field. That's a score. And that was the difference in the game. We lost by that much. We lost through the punting game, through the field position game. I mean, we just can't be this offense is so handicapped. They can't be starting at the 5-yard line and then get nowhere and then have Bushini shank a punt for 30 yards. And then that's where they get the ball. I mean, that's so tough on the defense and just to win a game like that.
Yeah. The field position was terrible. But we do got to tip the cap to that Michigan State punter. He is damn good.
He was really good.
He is really good. He should get an MVP for that game. Also, Michigan State's offense, it was a quarterback that made throws, which I think if like people around the country watch that game, they think that guy sucks. But after watching Big Ten West football, that impressed me. The guy, they threw it and caught it, and that impressed me for Big Ten football. So hats off to them and their defense. They decided Heinrich Harbor is going to beat us today, and Heinrich Harbor did not beat them to that day.
Yeah,
that's actually a great point, and they didn't really think about it that way because we allowed 232 passing, which anywhere else in the country is like, oh, your defense played like pretty average against the pass game, even pretty good really for some teams. But in the Big Ten West, I mean, we might as well have given up 1,000 yards.
Yeah,
passing. So
I'm like, damn, is it Kirk Cousins spinning it out there? That's crazy.
It felt like that too. Like
Yeah.
honestly, I know our defense only led probably close to 300.
Michigan State had 295 total yards.
So it really felt like Michigan State could do anything comparatively to the games before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was so disappointed this week. I mean, fuck, we shouldn't even have been in the. I re-listened to like my little rant from last week of like how we're gonna fucking win and all this stuff. I was like, God damn it.
Hey, Max had to do the same thing for the Colorado.
I did it with Colorado too.
I
So
was like, God damn
it
it.
is
But
what it is.
there's two things I want to touch on. Heinrich Harburg, he's fast in a straight line. He is not agile at all. If he has to make a cut, he's going to try to run somebody over, and he's
Dude
gonna
is
get
a
hurt really good.
racehorse, man.
Yeah,
He is just a racehorse.
When he has a straight path to where he's going, he actually has some speed.
He's so fast north south.
Yeah,
Dude.
east west, he's not.
No.
Like he needs to get strengthen his hip flexors or something so he can start making those cuts.
Matt Rule needs to think about getting a little person to just hop on Heine's shoulders and jockey him around.
And then the other thing, Brad kind of touched on it. The refs weren't the reason we lost this game, but they were absolutely horrible.
It was bad.
It was bad. The Big Ten West refs, or not even Big Ten West, Big Ten refs have not been good for the past couple of years. Connor witnessed it with the Iowa game, with the whatever they want to call that.
It's fair catch. Fair catch.
I guess if you do this,
I was thinking about that this week. I was thinking about the Brandon Riley catch and how that might have something to do with it. We might have getting a little bit of karma because of that. And also, throughout the course of the season, things are going to even out. And I feel like during Purdue, there's a lot of stuff that went our way. Just with like, you remember the fumble, the drop punt that just like fell out of 5 Purdue guys and into our guys' hands. It feels like we've been getting good calls, and I think things even out in football.
You know what doesn't even out in football apparently? Nebraska's turnover margin.
No, yeah. What was the stat since 2004?
It's gotten even worse.
I think it's
actually,
negative. Dude, I heard it this week, and it surprised me.
Let me-
It's like negative 110.
Yeah, okay. I have it right here. So this is up to date this week now. Since 2004, Nebraska has a turnover margin of negative 111. The next closest Power 5 team in that span, negative 61. We are nearly
How are
double
we so
second
bad?
place. It is maybe the most mind-boggling stat in all of college football.
Yeah, I really hope they don't bring that up on TV because that's fucking embarrassing.
Oh, it's gonna come up here soon.
It should. I mean,
I don't understand how we're so bad at protecting the football.
I don't
yeah,
know.
what is it?
And that's through like
20
4 or 5
years.
coaches. Yeah.
4 different coaches, so many different players. How does it happen?
It's weird.
Could it be something with the air in Lincoln?
Well,
Could it be the footballs we're using? What is happening?
it's actually funny that you say that because Nebraska Memorial Stadium, there was some like study done, I don't know by who, but they determined that Memorial Stadium is the windiest and most unpredictable wind stadium in college football. So
That's
The wind does swirl.
it swirls there, and the Midwest is windy as hell. There was actually, before the Purdue game, because we know it was really windy that week, the Purdue punters went up to Brian Buschini and asked him if it's always that hard to punt in Memorial Stadium. And so it's a thing.
Huh.
Apparently.
Little punter conversation, dude. That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
So funny enough. But yeah. Well, I think that's all we got for the Michigan State Nebraska game. Ready to move on. I think the Huskers are going to bounce back. I think the defense is going to bounce back. So I'm excited for the Maryland game, which we will touch on once we get into our previews. But with that, we'll get into the results of the weekend. Couple big games we could start with. I'll just start with Bedlam because I was really happy to see Mike Gundy get this win. Oklahoma State beating Oklahoma 27-24. What a scene in Stillwater. The goalpost came down. And Oklahoma State looked good. I mean, that team is – if there was ever a team that is back, I mean, they started 2-2, and now they're – what are they, 7-2, I believe?
I think they're 7-2.
After a 2-2 start and a like 20-point loss to South Alabama. So, hell of a job there.
good for them.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Texas beating K-State 33-30 in overtime. Big win for the Longhorns to stay in the playoff race because if they get another loss, 2 losses, they're pretty much out of it. So massive to stay alive in that. What else happened this weekend?
We touch on.
Wait, I got a question. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Isaiah.
No, if you got a question, go ahead and ask it.
No, I was going to segue into a different game. But...
I was going to talk about all the mix-up in the Big Ten West that could have went in Nebraska's favor this weekend.
Dude, it's such a fucking silly division.
Dude,
I wish it just didn't. I wish it was just over, man. Please,
Dude.
God.
Nebraska almost had a saving grace if Iowa would have lost.
Well,
Because
even an Iowa win, though, still didn't matter in terms of
Yeah, it
Nebraska's
doesn't hurt.
destiny.
That's true. That's true. We had
The
to beat
Minnesota
Wisconsin.
loss was huge.
Yeah,
Minnesota
that was massive.
Yeah, those
Yeah.
were huge.
Luckily, Minnesota lost. So now we really need to beat Wisconsin and Iowa.
Yeah.
Still be going to Indy.
We have to win out, and then assuming that Minnesota loses to Ohio State, should
Win.
be
That
decent.
is the kicker, yeah. It's kind of the contingency if Minnesota loses to Ohio State, which is probably likely. Nebraska does still control its own destiny if that happens.
I'm going to say when Ohio State beats them because I would love to see Minnesota beat Ohio State. I think that'd be hilarious.
Well, if Minnesota beats Ohio State, they should go to the Big Ten West.
They'd be
Challenge
likely.
the Big
And
Ten.
I'm perfectly fine with that because I would love to see them beat Ohio State.
I'm so
I don't know if I'm interested in being sent to Indianapolis as the sacrificial lamb. Winning the Big Ten West. It would be cool. But do you guys want to play Michigan again? I don't.
I honestly, when I
Yes.
think about that scenario, I don't even think about that. I just think about winning the Big Ten West because I hate most of the teams in the Big Ten West. I want to beat Iowa and
I do
Wisconsin.
too. I hate every team in the Big Ten West. I really do.
So that's my thought.
And Max, you said this last week. I don't know if it was on the pod or if it wasn't. It's going to be a fucking while until we get back to the Big Ten championship after this year with the new teams coming in.
Yeah.
And just the state of Nebraska football right now.
And that's not like a knock against where I think the future of the team can be. Because again, I think we can be an 8 to 10 win a year team under Matt Rule. Not saying that that's going to be the case, but I think it can be. But that's just not going to be good enough to win this conference, unfortunately.
You're going to have to be 12-0.
Yeah,
and playing really good ball because there might be a couple more teams that are 12-0 as well.
Yeah.
So.
Segue to a conference that isn't the Big Ten West. Is Alabama going to win the national championship?
Hey, don't count out Saban. Like
Alabama
you said,
is
Ed.
going to win the national championship.
Never count out Saban.
Never. I can tell you guys their live odds right now, winning the Natty.
What are they?
Plus 800.
Yeah, they're doing it.
Behind, obviously, Michigan, Georgia, Florida State, Ohio State, who are all ranked in front of them.
Alabama can beat any team in the country, except maybe Michigan. I think Michigan and Georgia might just be in a little class of their own.
Yeah, I think that Michigan and Georgia are kind of, like you said, in a class of their own right now. They're just handling every team.
You know what would really help Alabama too? If Texas loses. Because if Texas goes undefeated and it wins the Big 12, they have the head-to-head win over Alabama. So if there's like a 5-conference race in the Power 5, Texas is going to get in over Bama. So if Texas loses another one.
Dude, that is tough because imagine a scenario if Alabama beats Georgia in the conference championship, but Texas wins out as well. It's like that sucks.
And that would be the kicker. I mean,
that sucks because you have to put Texas in above Alabama.
Yeah, with
and Alabama, it doesn't make it 2 years in a row.
And all their fans would be all pissed.
Fire Saban.
Yeah, they really would.
They should fire Saban, man. Should fire him, man.
I wonder if Saban should come be the quarterback coach at Nebraska.
Come be an analyst.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got
Matt Rule coaching rehab school. How the turntables.
That is a really interesting scenario, though, for a playoff. I wouldn't be surprised if Alabama beats Georgia in the conference championship, though. Wouldn't be surprised if that happened.
I hope not.
We will definitely get into this conversation more, by the way, when we go through our top 6 rankings, which are coming up. So we will get back into that. I do want to segue into an Iowa win. Iowa baseball wins in Wrigley Field by a score of 10-7. Big win for the Hawks. Con man.
Yeah. There's not really much to say. It's just the same thing every week. You know? It's just repetitive at this point. We have no weapons on offense, no coaching, no nothing. It's all defense, baby.
Special teams and defense.
And now
we'll be doing it the rest of the year too.
I was ranked now. See that?
Are they?
Yeah.
For the AP.
Fucking no, for the college
CFP.
football playoff.
Oh, but not for AP. Are they for both?
Not for AP.
Okay.
Just for CFP. 22.
Very deserving.
Dude, I'm not seeing that. Am I in the wrong week?
So disgusting
Probably.
to see Iowa with a number by their name, dude.
Here's the
unbelievable.
Like,
we should be in the top 10 or top 10 to 20.
No, it's
should be
crazy.
8-1.
While I was looking at the odds for the Natty Championship, they got Iowa in there for some odds. That is disgusting.
What is it, like plus 12,000?
It is plus 100,000, so $1 wins you $1,000. But
place it.
But they're in there still.
They need a lot to happen.
A lot.
The unbelievable Iowa stat of the week, which I just love doing because every week something pops up about this team that is unbelievable. In the last 3 seasons, the Power 5 is 4-49 when not gaining 100 yards, or excuse me, 180 yards. So when a Power 5 team has 180 yards or less, they're 4-49. Iowa has all 4 of those wins.
I saw that stat on
I
Twitter.
hate that.
That's crazy. I love every week on Twitter. I see just some ridiculous Iowa stats. It's like that's not supposed to be a thing, but it is.
Mhm.
Goodness.
Just like when Torrey Taylor punts 8 times, they're nearly undefeated.
Right.
Just crazy.
For this Iowa game, I did want to go through. I didn't have time. I wanted to go through and see all the times that the Cubs in Wrigley Field had scored more than 17 runs, and I never was able to figure that out. But they did score 20 runs once this year, and
They scored 29 once.
29 is a total. But the Cubs scored 20
Oh, then by
runs by themselves. That is an interesting statistic. I mean, the Big Ten West really fucking sucks, and I was having fun with it, but I'm starting to not have fun anymore.
Yeah, I haven't been having fun for the last 2 years, man.
Yeah, now when my offense can't do shit, I'm also not having fun.
We haven't had fun for like 8 years. Let's be realistic.
I know, but like just the conference as a whole, in the past few years, I've been like, look at this. Look at our quirky little conference. We can't score points. Isn't this fun? It's not fun anymore, man.
I think it's fitting that this is the last year of the Big Ten West, and it is peak Big Ten West this year. And I do love how the entire country is embracing it. Like on Sickos on Twitter, I always see statistics about the Big Ten West. And, Nebraska's in the limelight in the worst way possible, but I love it.
Dude, what's crazy is that the 2 worst teams in the Big Ten East beat 2 Big Ten West teams this week.
Yeah.
That's tough. That is tough. Indiana
That's
taking
bad.
down Wisconsin.
That was Michigan State's first conference win this year.
Yeah,
I think it might have been Indiana's too. I don't know. I think
it might have.
I believe it was. And these are Nebraska and Wisconsin could be considered the second and third best teams in the West. So also another
Big Ten
funny
East
stat.
owns the West.
The bottom 6 teams in the country in terms of pass yards per game, 3 of them are Big Ten West, and the other 3 are the military academy schools.
God damn it.
So that's awesome.
I hope we can get a quarterback in the portal. I hope everyone in the West can get a quarterback in the portal, man. Fuck this shit.
It's kind of it's crazy too because we thought like Hudson Card out of Texas for Purdue, Tanner Mordecai going to Wisconsin, Cade McNamara going to Iowa. It was looking good.
Well, you're right, but at the same time, it was new coach at Wisconsin, Nebraska, and Purdue. Illinois just like had a mass exodus of all of their talent. Iowa
had a
still
situation.
had Brian Ferentz. Northwestern lost their coach. Forgot to mention that. Like this was always going to be the case, but you are so wistful going into the year. You're so hopeful going into the year that things will be different. You get Cade McNamara, and you're like, "Fuck, maybe we'll score a bunch of points this year," and then it just doesn't happen.
He gets
Jeff
hurt.
Sims, you
Top
think
2
maybe
tight
you'll
ends
have a
get hurt.
positive? Yeah.
There's been a lot of injuries on Big Ten West offenses too. We know about the injuries for Nebraska. We know about the injuries for Iowa. And then right now for Wisconsin, Braylon Allen, Ches Malusi, and Tanner Mordecai are all out, and their top wide receiver. Purdue just sucks. They don't have injuries.
There's injuries all over.
The injuries, like, not to say that Iowa's offense would be any better, but like those with just having their top 3, it just makes it that much harder to score points. With the only weapons you did have in the first place are all gone. It's like, shit, what do we do now?
Yeah,
we have to go to our freshmen in high school.
That's kind of the same situation that the Huskers are. I mean, and the Big Ten West could collectively fill a hospital. But I mean, if Brett Bielema, in his impending heart attack, he'll take up 3 hospital rooms just to fit him in there, man. But the Big Ten West is just, God, it's in shambles in so many ways.
What's funny is if I told you Iowa had 65 pass yards and they rushed for 2.5 yards per carry, how do you win that game? But they did. So
Not surprised one bit.
With the goal
No.
line stand of the ages, baby.
yeah. Any other big results? I mean, Clemson beat Notre Dame. That was big for Dabo. Arizona beats UCLA. Zona is rolling. We know that. Good team.
We talk about Colorado.
Oh yeah, Dion. The switch of the OC didn't seem to work.
Yeah, and I'm just a straight up hater of Colorado. I watch them and I just hope they lose every week, and it's been fun for the last 4 weeks.
Yeah, it's been a good time.
Shador, man, I kind of feel bad for the guy because he is like so good, and he also he's getting sacked. I mean, he's getting hit like 20 times a game. He had to leave the game this week and go get a shot of adrenaline or something to put up with the pain to get through the rest of the game. Like the dude is playing his ass off.
Yeah. Colorado had -7 rush yards on the game too, which is
Well, that's counting Shador as like a negative
sacks.
50.
Yeah. Well, did you guys see that Maryland had -49 rush yards this weekend?
No.
Maryland, I mean, and that's counting all the sacks, but still,
Hey.
it's in the books as -49 rush yards.
Hey,
Who
yeah,
did they
we'll
play?
get to that preview soon enough, but
Yeah.
they ain't gonna even try to run the ball on us. It's gonna be Tua just slinging it.
Talia?
Talia, is he left-handed too?
Yes.
No.
I
Okay,
thought he
thank
was.
God. I did not want to watch a left-handed quarterback. That should not even be allowed.
Who did Maryland play last weekend?
Penn State.
Okay.
They lost
Yeah,
51-15.
Weren't they up right at the beginning? Did they score first, or am I tripping? Was that a different game?
I think they
I have
might
no
have.
idea. All right, is that good? Is there anything else anyone
No
else wanted
way.
to?
Did we touch on USC Washington?
Oh,
Fucking
unbelievable game.
so fun. Such a fun game. That's all I wanted to say. No, I mean USC's defense is fucking bad, but
So
such
is
a fun
Washington.
game. Yeah,
Washington's defense isn't any better.
Yeah, hey, shout out Devin Miller if you're listening to this. Washington's defense is bad.
Yeah. Yeah, their defense did not. I mean, their defense was a little bit better, but it's not great.
94 points combined. That's a fun game to me. I like big scoring games.
Hey, that was a bad beat though for our
That was a bad
over-under.
live beat. Bad live
Yeah.
beat. That's all right though.
They only needed 14 points going into the third quarter, and they only got 10. Or fourth quarter, they only got 10.
Yeah, that was a bad beat. That's all right though. We
I
did it
thought
for the
that-
love of the game.
We did. I thought it was gonna be a luck, but
Yeah, that's
All
all
right.
I wanted to say about that one.
Yeah, that was a very notable game. Very entertaining to watch. When the halftime of Iowa Northwestern live bet over under is 13.5, and then USC Washington is 101.5. It's a good day.
That's
It's a good
fun.
day.
hey, USC is finally not ranked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About time.
And speaking of which, segue, they fired Alex Grinch, defensive coordinator, and it's
Took
about
them-
time. He followed Lincoln Riley from Oklahoma.
Took them long enough, dude. I can't believe he had a job for that long, to be honest.
Dude, that is going to be a tough job to get that defense functioning.
They should have a
There's-
team where they. Sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Toilet Man.
They should have a team with Brian Ferentz as the OC and USC's defensive coordinator.
I was just about to say
Combined
that.
to be the best
I think-
team ever.
I think I saw that on Twitter that like Michigan's punishment needed to be that or something.
I just want to see Iowa, and I know, unfortunately, Alex Grinch is fired, but I would love to see Iowa versus USC in a bowl game.
That would be so fun. Oh
Last
my
time that
gosh, I would
happened-
love that.
Last time that happened, Brian Ferentz was the OC, and they scored like 51 points or something. And
Jeez.
that was
What
29.
happened, Brian?
Speaking of which, can we get a Brian Ferentz points tracker update?
I can do that real quick. With the whopping another 10 points put up by the Iowa offense, which, granted, it was all offensive points. So good for them, minus the 3 points for the field goal. But the average has gone down to 18.4. It was at 19.5 last week.
Is
Just
Nebraska
impressive
doing better than
stuff.
that?
That I don't know. I could here, I'll do that while we're talking, and then I can update it.
We're just look
I
up.
think-
Just look up
I think
scoring
we're at like
offense.
18 or I think we're like 18 or 19.
We're
And Iowa's
100 and we're 115th in the country at 19.9.
Let's go,
20.
baby.
Iowa is at the 18.4, which isn't dead last in the whole country.
Good for them. Good for Iowa.
Iowa's Big Ten points per game is like 13 too. Isn't that impressive?
Yeah, 14th, and the only Power 5 team lower than Iowa is Michigan State.
Yeah, that fucking hurts, dude.
That kind of blows. All right. Should we just get into? We need to get into playoff stuff here. We need to get into our rankings. Hammer this home. The playoff rankings came out today. I got them in front of my face. But before we do any of that, let's go through and do our top 6, first 2 out, and then our top 4. Do we go? What do we start with here? Do you start with 6?
Start with
Yeah.
6.
Okay, let's start with 6. So I'll go first. My 6th ranked team is Oregon. Top 1-loss team.
Yeah, I agree. I think they are the best one-loss team in the country right now.
Yep, I'm on the same page with you guys. I got Oregon.
This is their team that's right on the outside at 6 or 5.
6.
At 6. Dude, Alabama.
I've got Oregon. I did debate a little bit on putting Texas there, but I'm going to go with Oregon.
My number 5 team, I have the team that beat Oregon just barely, Pac-12, Washington.
Yeah, I don't need to beat a dead horse. I got Washington.
Me too.
Dude, I fucked this up. No, I got Washington as well, but I'm taking back my 6 and giving it to Oregon. I agree with the playoff committee on that. I thought I was doing 2 on the I was. Never mind.
No, you're good.
I agree with you guys so far.
All right, cool. My number 5 is Washington. I feel like they are a modern-day USC. Bad defense, really good offense.
All right, so not only have all 5 of us agreed so far, but we're all in lockstep with the committee. Might change as we get into our top 4. The important part here, my number 4 team, still going to agree with the committee. I got Florida State.
Yep, I agree with the committee. Florida State, even though I said they were bad.
Yeah, I think we're all just going to keep repeating because I got Florida State too.
I am actually going to go with Michigan here just because I think Florida State has a more impressive win than Michigan does.
I'm going Florida State.
Okay. Nice. We have some disagreement. We'll certainly get into that more as we go. Number 3, I am going to put Michigan here now. So at my number 3 spot.
This is tough. These top 3 teams. But I'm going to put Georgia, actually, at number 3.
I got Michigan there.
I got Florida State. Like I said, they just have a little bit more impressive of a resume than Michigan. Even though Michigan has been taking care of business, it's just that they have not played anybody.
Yeah, I agree with Headley to Michigan's taking care of business. I've got Michigan at 3, but their wins against the Big Ten haven't been any good teams yet. They do play Penn State this week, so that should be a really great game. So we'll see how they fare against them.
All right, number 2 team. This is where I'm going to stick Georgia in at.
Number 2 team, I'm putting Michigan because I think they are dominant.
Yeah, I got Georgia at 2 with that win against Missouri. I think it just puts them over the edge of Michigan.
Yeah, I agree. I got Georgia at number 2. They've had some. I mean, that win against Missouri, and then they've had some tough road games earlier this year.
Yeah, I'm going to put Ohio State at my 2. I think their Notre Dame win was good, but it's not looking as good anymore. And they just haven't been able to really, how do I put this? They haven't been as dominant against some of these teams that they need to be, i.e. like being in a game with Rutgers that should have never happened. Although they did come back the second half and kill them. But yeah, I got Ohio State as my 2.
I have Ohio State as my number 1 team right now.
I have Louisville. What? Just kidding. I have Ohio State as my number 1 team. Their resume still looks really good with those 2 big wins.
Yeah, I got Ohio State as well. I actually had the same list as the committee. I thought they had a good list for this week.
Yeah, I got Ohio State as well. I think the committee is doing just fine. I got no complaints.
And I've got Georgia. I think the only complaint is just flip-flopping Georgia and Ohio State.
All right. Okay, so 4 out of the 5 of us have Ohio State 1. Brad has Georgia at 1, and then Ohio State just down at number 2. Mine, like with you, Connor, is the exact same as the committee. I completely agree with their rankings right now. And I also, for you guys, I don't know if you're watching, but I do have all of our rankings in the spreadsheet if you want to follow along there on this week's tab, week 11.
Okay.
For me, Ohio State is my number 1 team just because I do think they have the most impressive resume. I think the Notre Dame win still looks good. I think the Penn State win is a great win. But it's going to be super easy for me this week if Georgia beats a top 10 Ole Miss team and Michigan beats a top 10 Penn State team. Both of them, I don't know who's going to be 1 and 2. If both win, though, they're both, for me, going to leapfrog Ohio State, and Ohio State's now going to drop to 3. That's right where I'm at.
I like that.
Yeah, I'd agree. Especially like if Michigan goes out and easily handles Penn State, where Ohio State didn't, that'll help too. And then I think Ole Miss is a very good team that Georgia's gonna be playing.
Yeah, and honestly, if Georgia wins, barring a Michigan like 20-something point win over Penn State, it'd be easy for me then to put Georgia at number 1 because then they're coming off back-to-back wins against a Missouri team that I said I didn't think was the 12th team in the country, but I think they're actually probably about the 12th ranked team in the country after that performance. And then they'll have the top 10 win over Ole Miss, and that's 2 weeks in a row. So they'll probably be my number 1, and then Michigan, then Ohio State. It'll work itself out.
Well,
And
the spread, sorry, Brad. Even the spread for that Georgia Ole Miss game is a lot, especially for that opponent. So it'd be interesting.
yeah,
Bro, your S's are killing me right now, man.
Why?
They're cut.
long.
They're sharp.
Brad?
I was laughing at that, but I was also laughing at Isaiah saying sorry, Brad, when he interrupted him. Usually when that happens, like, oh, sorry, Brad, go ahead. He's like,
Go
sorry,
ahead.
Brad. Anyway, I'm going to continue on with what I'm saying.
He goes, sorry, Brad.
Sorry.
Yeah, what I was going to say is kind of on par with what Max was saying. I think Georgia, if they win and Michigan wins, Georgia would be a better, like, above Michigan, just because I think personally who Georgia has played would probably beat a lot of them who has Michigan played as well. Like, I think they're better teams.
Yeah.
And that's why I would put them above Michigan.
Yeah, I like how we're not the AP poll who thinks you rank a team 1, 2, and 3, and if they don't lose, you can never change it, because that's not the case. It can change as the season goes on, and mine will certainly change next week if Georgia and Michigan take care of business. But if they don't, Ohio State's definitively the number 1 team. It's also kind of interesting too, because by our rankings, Washington has the best win in the country because they beat a number 6 Oregon team. That's the best win that one of those top 5 teams has, which makes it tough to put them at number 5 with that win. But
Well,
Yeah.
I think their performance in the last couple of weeks keeps them at 5 right now.
No.
If they're
They play
deep, if
a
they were,
Utah team this week, by the way, so
that's true. I think if they've been performing the way they have, or the way they did against Oregon the past couple of weeks, I would put them at 4. But the way they've been performing lately has not looked great, so that's why I kept them at 5.
Yeah, I don't think Washington's a bad team at all. Don't get me wrong. But I think if they meet Oregon in the Pac-12 championship, it's going to be really hard to beat them again.
No.
And I just think their defense like I said, not great. Their offense is good, but I think Oregon is just a little better. But you also can't put Oregon above Washington because Washington's undefeated. And with an Oregon win and a USC win, which is not like amazing, but they were still ranked. They still went wire to wire. So, yeah.
As I look at the schedule too for Florida State and Washington, if Washington beats another ranked team this week in Utah, I'll probably put Washington then at my number 4 and move Florida State down a notch because that LSU win is their best win, but it keeps looking not as good, and the rest of their schedule's been pretty lackluster in the ACC. So I think
Who does Washington play this week?
Washington plays Utah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. And I could very well see that could be a trap game. Yeah, it's going to be a really good game.
No, I do agree. Anything else to add on the playoff rankings? All right, let's get into Tank and Bank. Very fun segment for the week. My tank, because I'm not doing the bit anymore, I'm going to do it. I've done it, I think, maybe 2 other times this year, so this might have to be my last. But Colorado and Deion Sanders, because they changed the O coordinator. They need to get rid of the O-line, and that offense was now worse this week in a bad loss to Oregon State. So, tough look for Deion.
My tank this week is going to be Notre Dame losing to Clemson. They got dominated that game. I don't think they ever had a lead, and they just didn't look very good.
Yeah, I actually had the same tank. There wasn't a ton of just upsets this week, but seeing that Notre Dame has kind of had this hype the last 2 years and then just kind of not gone out there and won the games that they needed to win to be a top team. Tank.
My tank, I'm with Max here. I'm a certified hater. My tank is Colorado being under 500 for the first time this year, and hopefully for the rest of eternity.
My tank is going to be Nebraska this week. We should have never lost to Michigan State. And I'm also going to have an honorable mention of myself for going on that rant last week of saying how we would never lose to Michigan State. And then we go out and do that. So that's going to be my tank this week.
Well, can I want to throw an honorable tank out there. All the fellows watching football at Max's apartment is a tank. I think we are, 0-10? We have never seen Nebraska win a fucking football game at Max's apartment. I might actually just stop watching football there because I think it's cursed.
Hey,
thanks for having us. It's great food.
I will say,
I try to make a good host and good food and good TV viewing experience for the boys.
Never coming over again.
Hey,
I feel like I do my part and Nebraska football doesn't. Okay,
Max definitely does his
watch
part.
Football. And then it just gets ruined by Nebraska being terrible.
Dude, I beat the fuck out of a trash can this year. I beat the fuck out of just random items in my room last year. Brad beat the fuck out of the chair this year.
Yeah.
Fully acceptable. You can do it again if we come over here and lose, Brad. That's fully
Matt
acceptable.
started smashing a bottle outside in the parking lot after the Minnesota loss too. So that was a thing.
You know, it's a bad sign when we've watched 3 games at my place and we can all list something that we beat.
Hey, Iowa, they got the dub though at Max's apartment.
Nobody fucking cares. Nobody
dude.
fucking cares. Hey,
Woo.
we're 2-0 when we watch at my places. That's all I gotta say. Hey,
I did want to mention on top of that when Nebraska's 8-20 in the last 2 seasons. Tough to choose the wins to have watched at your place. That's tough to find those.
It's hard, but once you find them, I think you have to ride the hot hand.
That's true.
We got one at Beef House. We got one at Roanoke House this year. So looking good.
Bank
time. I do have an honorable mention for my bank that I'll do after everyone. Don't want to steal anything. I have to go though with my main bank, Mike Gundy, Oklahoma State, last bedlam ever. I mentioned it last week how much I was going for the Cowboys, and they got the win, and they have eternal bragging rights now, and I think that's awesome because Oklahoma and Texas started all this conference realignment. Fuck them. They lose to the team they hate most. forever.
Yeah, I like that bank a lot, Max. But mine's gonna be Arizona, and specifically Fafita for stepping in for Mahomes. Arizona is now 6-3. They are 21st in the country. They are kind of on a tear right now. So I'm going Arizona.
I'm with Max. I got Okie State. Just good dub in the last ever Bedlam.
My bank is gonna be Nick Saban in Alabama. Man, they're back. They are back.
Back like they never left. My bank is actually Oklahoma State as well. All the same points that Max said. And then my honorable mention is going to be if Isaiah ever gets in a chili eating contest. Because that man housed like 9 bowls of chili the entire game. He just kept on going back for more, back for. He's like, Max, I need the cheese. Max, I need the cheese.
As
And
for
he
cheese,
had other
multiple
cheese.
occasions, extra cheese.
kept
think he-
going.
I think Isaiah had a bowl of chili every like 40 minutes. He kept his stomach full for a good 12 hours on chili.
Yeah,
Dude, that
That's
was good chili, even though it wasn't homemade.
we need to
Yeah, how
find.
are you-
We need to find.
How are
that
you
man.
feeling after that? Because I wasn't feeling too good that night.
Oh, I was feeling fine, man. I took that nap. We got some was it Jersey Mike's?
It's
Ooh,
nice, yeah.
We did pick up some mics.
Wait, you're telling me you didn't only eat chili that day? What a shame.
I know. I think I had like
I think he ate
11
it
bowls
all.
of chili.
I think Max ran out because Isaiah ate it all.
Hey,
Yeah.
I made an easy cleanup for him. Hey. My honorable bank though, he didn't have Fritos.
That's
not
What?
bad.
Is that a bank? Or
bank?
is that a tank?
Tank.
No, you've messed it up now.
Nah, that's actually a
Dude.
bank now. You're
That's
right.
bad
No,
now.
no, I'm not bank or tank.
My
Let's move on.
my honorable mention bank is Army getting the rivalry win 23-3 over a ranked Air Force. Congrats, Army.
Yeah,
That's insane. They lose to
Yeah.
UMass and then they go beat Navy.
Air Force. They beat Air Force.
That's what I said.
Navy and Fritos, man. What are you going to do?
what are you gonna do?
All right, week 11 preview. Let's get this thing rolling here. Some big games. We have Michigan, Penn State, top 10 matchup. First test for Michigan. This is big.
Hey, were you guys surprised to see the spread at 5 points?
A little.
No,
yeah.
I don't know.
I was expecting it to be at like 9 or 10, honestly, and to see it at 5, I was surprised.
I think it's because at Penn State is the
Yeah.
only reason why.
That's true. They are going to be rowdy as you can be at 11 a.m.
I think, it helps that both teams are, top 10 ranked teams in the country. Both teams are coming in wanting to win the game. So I think it's going to be close. It definitely helps that it's in Happy Valley. But yeah, I'd agree. I was expecting, 6.5, 7.5, one score game, but it'll be a fun game to watch. That's for sure.
It'll be the
Yeah.
second most fun Big Ten game to watch this week.
And we'll get into the first most fun in a minute. Ole Miss Georgia is the other game I wanted to make sure that we touched on too. Another top 10 matchup. It's actually really fitting that we have Ohio State as the somewhat debatable number 1 because they have the more impressive resume, and we don't need to wait much longer. We don't need to wait any longer. Georgia plays number 9 team. Michigan plays number 10 team. I mean, it's so fitting. And I said if those two teams win, they'll move into number 1 and 2 for me. I don't know which order, but either way. And I'm excited to see Georgia get a good test as well.
Yeah, dude, Ole Miss is going to get smashed in the mouth, honestly.
Ole
Ole Miss always blows it in prime time. Let's just be honest.
They did
Yeah,
blow
that's
it
a good
against
point.
Alabama.
Yeah, they are not good in big matchup games. I will say that. They haven't the past couple of years.
The lane train.
I ain't trying.
That is true. They win the games they're supposed to and lose the games that they're supposed to.
They got a Bo Pelini case over there.
Yeah.
But we'll
Which
see
isn't
how.
the worst spot to be in.
I thought Alabama played Kentucky.
Alabama does play Kentucky this
Well,
weekend.
earlier.
Wait, who does Ole Miss? Oh wait, Ole Miss plays who?
Georgia.
Oh, for some reason I thought we were talking about Bama for a second.
I did say Ole Miss lost to Bama earlier this year.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was all confused.
We'll see how good Carson Beck is after I already shit on him this year.
And then now we'll just open discussion. Any other games that you guys want to touch on? There's some other good ranked matchups, and then there's some really good
Probably
Big Ten
Rutgers,
West.
Iowa.
Yeah, it's gonna be an awesome game.
28.5. That's awesome. The good punter matchup. It's gonna be a fun one.
They need to put Cooper DeJean in offense for more than 2 plays this time.
Is
Yeah,
that
seriously.
game in Iowa City?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Dang.
Iowa put in Cooper DeJean, had one of their most explosive plays, and then they said, "Well, that's just a little too good." Let's not.
How'd they get him the ball?
Yes.
It was like it was a jet sweep end around. He gained like 8 yards, like their easiest 8 yards of the game.
Yeah, and then they
you know we're
motioned him
talking
again.
Big West football when Connor says we had one of our most explosive plays of the game. It was 8 yards.
Well, here's the thing, Headley, is they motioned him again, but then they handed it off to the running back who got like 5 yards because
And it worked.
they were just scared.
He should probably just be on the field every single play.
And then they took him out, and then he never went back in on offense the rest of the game.
Yeah.
That's funny. That is really
What?
funny.
That was another Big Ten West
That
action here. Minnesota, Purdue. I'm on Minnesota watch for the rest of the year now until they lose. That's probably one of my game of the weeks. It's because we need Minnesota to lose for us to have a chance.
Yep, it's a good point. A Purdue win would be big there. We know that Ohio State win should be coming, but
you never know.
No, you never know. You don't know. And honestly, for the division, I mean, just a massive weekend. You have Iowa and Nebraska are both with, their spreads within 2 or 3 points for both those games.
Mm-hmm.
Purdue, Minnesota's even. Wisconsin is 10.5-point favorites to Northwestern, 11-ish.
Surprising.
Yeah, it is.
I think I would give them like 6.5.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, 6.5.
I'd give him like 4.5, honestly. With how many people they're down, and Northwestern's beat some teams that we didn't expect them to. Be interesting.
It's true, but they are still Northwestern. They only put up 7 points against Iowa, but Iowa's defense is really good.
Yeah, I am really impressed with Northwestern this year. Like the fact that they've won, they only won 1 game last year, and this year they're kind of competing in really every game they play in. In the West, that is. But the West, really anyone can beat anyone, which is the great part about it. And it's also the shitty part about it. I mean, come on. This is fucking embarrassing.
It's the most competitive division.
It is the most competitive division.
I mean, there's a legit 4-horse race right now.
It's the best division in all of sports. That's what I've heard.
Fact.
I kind of agree with that, but you watch Deacon Hill, you watch Heinrich Hardenberg. God damn.
What about those defenses?
Those defenses. But also the defenses are playing against Deacon Hill and Heinrich Hardenberg. So
Oh, Headley, you weren't there. Did you watch any of the Iowa game?
I did not. I was at the wedding.
Deacon Hill looks exactly like Blake Schmida.
Yeah.
Exactly
does.
like him.
He does.
Yeah.
Shout out Blake. Shout out Blake.
So the place my gym is at in Exarban, that plaza is called Beacon Hill, and so every time I go to the gym, I think of Deacon Hill.
That's funny.
Deacon Hill, baby.
Big.
Big Deke.
All right, Nebraska preview, maybe a little bit here. Nebraska's 2.5-point dogs at home against Maryland. Maryland has started 5-0. They're 5-4. They're coming off a 4-loss stretch that includes losses to Northwestern, includes the 51-15 loss just this last weekend at Penn State. They're down and out right now, which is good for Nebraska. Not saying that, Nebraska's going to win the game, but I mean, Maryland's way down right now than what we thought they were going to be.
They also lost to Illinois, too.
Yeah.
Same shit, different story. Same shit, different day. Nebraska's defense needs to be good. Their offense needs to not turn the ball over, and then we should win the game. Easy. It's such an easy game. Such an easy sport.
So I don't know shit honestly, about Maryland. Haven't really watched them. I just know Talia, if he's on a hot streak, he can tear some defenses up. So we really need to focus on him, pressure the quarterback, make him make quick passes, and potentially throw interceptions. Offense, it's like beating a broken record. You got to protect the ball, hold on to it, make good passes, and stop throwing fucking sidearm. Throw it over the top, hit your guys in stride, and don't make them have to go run to the ball and catch it, and try to avoid those interceptions.
And our defense is going to have to step up big. Like a lot of times we've been hurt this year. Some teams can throw it. Maryland's not even going to try to run the ball against us. They're just going to throw it. The secondary has to play a good game, and secondary just played their worst game of the year. For offense, we got what we got. We can expect 2-3 turnovers. Defense needs to even that up, man. They need to even that up.
Yeah, and I mean, Maryland ranks 108th in the country in rush offense. Nebraska's 3rd in the country in rush defense.
They
like
aren't
you
even
said,
going to
Headley.
try.
No, they're not even going to try. And that's a positive because it's going to force Maryland to be extremely one-dimensional on offense. That's good. But yeah, we're going to have to be able to stop the pass of Maryland.
What I am worried about, last week we lost to Michigan State, who was on a 6-game losing streak. Now we got a team coming in that's on a 4-game losing streak. It would be very Nebraska-esque to lose this game. I can't trust these teams, man. I just can't trust Nebraska anymore.
So my only hope with you mentioning that up is that this game is at home. So hopefully that helps a little bit. I don't know if it gets as cold in Maryland as it does here. I haven't really looked at the weather for this game.
It's gonna be decent.
Is it okay?
Which is unfortunate, actually.
It is unfortunate. But yeah, like I said, defense has to step up. Good thing we got Tommy Hill.
Tommy Hill just played the shittiest game of his career.
Yeah.
After he played the best game of his career. So
that's true.
I do expect, listen, I fully expect the defense to rebound from that. If they don't, then maybe we have a little bit of an issue on their hands. They really didn't. They played really good rush defense against Michigan State with the statistics, and then they played pretty average everywhere else on defense.
Yeah.
And that just sucks that they have to be that good. But they had been. So I expect them to bounce back. Just like after the Michigan game, they bounced back and strung off 3 wins in a row, 3 phenomenal performances in a row. So
something that we didn't say about the game this last week, the whole atmosphere of that game was just so fucking boring and gray and dreary. Their stadium was quiet as hell. The announcers sucked. It was just a dreary game. And I'm happy that the team's going to be back in Lincoln and it's going to be rocking. Maybe it won't be that rocking, but at least the atmosphere will be 50 times better than what they were at Michigan State. People in East Lansing
too.
East Lansing folks don't even like sports. What their baseball games are getting? What are the average attendance is like 30 folks at a baseball game. The average attendance for football, they get like 200 people in. Fuck, they suck at basketball too. I'm happy that we're.
They only like it when their team's good.
They do. They don't even care about sports in East Lansing.
No, I like that you brought up the announcers because they were terrible. Marcus Scatterfield, they messed up so many names. Heinrich Herberg, like, come on.
The whole viewing experience was not fun. The product was bad. The production was bad.
Yeah, the production was terrible too.
Fucking dude, do these camera guys, have they ever watched football before? They don't know where the hell the ball is.
Yeah.
Probably had some high schoolers helping them out.
They probably grabbed a guy off a sitcom set and they're like, "Hey, can you do football?" And he's like, "Maybe I could try."
Yes, bro.
Follow the ball, man. Oh, fuck, I'll try it.
All right. Well, that was a good Husker preview. Like I said, I do fully expect them to bounce back. Maryland also really struggles rush defense. Emmett Johnson. Dude has been running good.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That's all I got to say.
Feed 'em.
Run the damn ball.
Run the damn ball, man.
Feed 'em.
And then after you do a couple options, then do the belly G option. Pass back. Malachi Coleman beats his guy. Hopefully Harburg doesn't throw it 10 feet over his head. All right. Do we need to do a game of the week? Michigan, Penn State?
Yeah, I had three.
Mine is Rutgers, Iowa.
Mine was just like Michigan, Penn State, Georgia, Ole Miss, and Minnesota, Purdue.
Good.
Yeah, I had Michigan, Penn State, and that Georgia Ole Miss. 2 big games.
Michigan, Penn State. Yep.
Yep, yep.
I'll go honorable mention with any game involving a Big Ten West team because it is massive for the standings. All right. Time to get into predictions. Locks, dogs. Our special guest this week is the anti-Headley. Just like last week, we had the anti-Isaiah, which I'm going to be very curious to see how they did. Brad, can we get a record update?
I will go through it very quickly, Max. So we got Max went 8-5. Isaiah went 8-5. Headley went 9-4. Not Isaiah. The evil Isaiah went 5-8. Connor also went 5-8, going with not Isaiah there. I went 10-3, and Devin went 7-6. Really good week for the locks here. We had Max, Isaiah, Headley, myself, and Devin all hit our locks. Isaiah, Devin, and myself all hit our underdogs as well, 2.5 points each. And then the standings for the year, we have Max at 86-38, Isaiah at 98-26. He'll be the first one to get to 100, most likely. Headley is 88-36. Connor is 87-37. I am 80-44. Devin is 85-39. For the locks,
for the locks, I'm 7-3.
7-3. I probably
I'm
haven't. Oh yeah, no, that makes sense. No, wait, what? Does that make sense?
No, I'm 7. Devin's 8-2, I believe.
You know what?
What am I for the locks now?
I'll have to go through these again, but Max is in the green. I'll say who's in the green. Max is in the green. Headley's in the green. Devin is in the green, and then that is all the people in the green who are above 50% or above. I'll go through it again. I don't know what happened. And then dogs. Isaiah's got 16.5 points. Headley's got 20 points. Connor's got 11.5. I've got 6, and Devin's got 16.
Last few weeks, I've been in desperation mode for the dog, and it hasn't.
I am interested to see who you pick this week.
Oh, we are in desperation mode. I'm winning this thing. I am winning this thing. Actually, it's not total desperation this week. But we'll get into it. Locks, dogs, picks. I think we have 12 games on the picks this week, including a Friday night game, so that's fun. For my lock this week, though, I don't know. God, I'm deciding between two. I'm gonna join the Iowa Rutgers under, subject to change in the episode because you can change it if the episode's still recording. Rule. Iowa Rutgers under 28.5.
Gotta mention that real quick. Gotta mention that.
I've been debating it the whole day, but yeah, that's my lock for right now.
My lock is the Arizona versus Colorado over of 54.5. I think Arizona has a very good offense. And Colorado, even though they have not looked very good, they can still score.
I got the Kansas Jayhawks -3.5 versus Texas Tech. They've been hot lately, and they're playing at home. They're going to keep it rolling.
I've got the Iowa Rutgers under at 28.5. And let me tell you, if you cut that in half and it was 14.5, I would still take it.
Oh, jeez.
So the anti-Headley has that game, but the over.
Got to do it for the brand, though. Got to go under there. My lock is going to be USC, Oregon over 73.5. Don't fix something that ain't broken. Yeah.
And I'm sure Devin's going to have the Michigan over.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting because they actually played Penn State. Which his lock, and I re-listened to the episode, just that part. He said Purdue has to score a garbage time touchdown for the over to hit, and that's exactly what happened. Shout out Devin. He knows ball.
Good call, Devin. Good call.
Dude, Devin knows ball. He is
He knows
having
ball.
such a bounce back year. This is
He
crazy.
is.
He
He
is.
is.
Yeah,
Props,
he is
Devin.
having a great bounce back. Hey, Connor, did you forget the order, man?
Yeah, it's changed. It's changed now. We're rocking with it.
We're rocking. We're
It
rocking and
doesn't show
rolling.
for me what the order is.
Well, you're normally after Headley.
Oh. Yeah. I'm after you now. Normally Brad puts it in the chat.
All right. Coming in with the dogs this week. I'm getting on the board. I'm getting double digits. Northwestern plus 11 against Wisconsin. Let's just go with the head-to-head matchup here. Wisconsin loses 15-6 to Iowa. Northwestern barely loses 10-7. Last second field goal to Iowa. That's all you need to know. Northwestern is a much better team than we all realize. Wisconsin sucks right now. They just lost to the worst team in the Big Ten. 11 points. Congratulations, Wisconsin, on the win.
Oh, I like that, Max. I'm going Nebraska plus 2.5. Might be a homer pick, but we'll see.
I'm going Kentucky plus 10.5 versus Bama. Not going to happen, but we'll give it a shot.
I have got BYU 6.5 point underdog to Iowa State. I did watch some of Iowa State versus Kansas this last week because I was at a wedding with some Iowa State grads, and wow, they look terrible.
Not Headley is going to go Rutgers plus 2.
Because Headley's a closet Iowa fan.
Closet Iowa fan there.
Closet.
My underdog is going to be Utah plus 8.5. I think if they could slow down Washington's offense, they've got a really good chance to upset the Huskies.
All right, now to the picks. Friday night. This is a 9:45 Central kickoff. Late night Friday. That's awesome. Group of 5. Excuse me. Game of the week. Seems to always be the Mountain West. They're having a good year. I got UNLV beating Wyoming. This game is in Las Vegas too, so advantage Rebs.
Yeah, I'm going Vegas here. Hey, Vegas actually twice here. I'm going UNLV and with Vegas since they are favored by 4. Shout out Brad, his favorite team last year.
Yeah, I'm also taking UNLV.
Yeah, I'm going UNLV too. See, now we're just going random with the order.
I'm going to go Wyoming here.
Dude, I am so used to going right after Isaiah.
Dude, I always go after Isaiah. What are you talking about?
No, you never do.
Hey, Headley, on the spreadsheet you have Wyoming.
You're right. I took a guess.
So who do you got?
I got Wyoming, but the mobile version of Sheets is terrible. It keeps crashing.
All right, Headley's got Wyoming. We're riding the boys.
Okay. Saturday. Classic basketball rivalry hits the football field. Duke and North Carolina. I'm actually surprised it's 12.5 point spread. I think North Carolina's kind of down, and Duke's an okay team. But I do have North Carolina winning this one.
Yeah, I think these two teams are going to duke it out, but I got North Carolina winning.
But
I also have North Carolina.
Yeah, I got Tar Heels.
I got North Carolina.
Next, Oklahoma State at UCF. Another really surprising spread to me. Oklahoma State coming off a big win. They're hot. Give me the Cowboys.
Yeah, like Max said, they're hot. Give me the Cowboys.
Boys. Cowboys.
Okie State.
I'm going to go Oklahoma State, and this was going to be potentially my lock of the week. So I like the points in this one too.
Miami at Florida State. Classic rivalry here. Love to see it. Miami was my secondary dog at the plus 14.5. Really thought about taking it, but I didn't do it, and I do think Florida State is the better team, so I'm going to pick them to win. I don't have to hedge, but Florida State wins.
Keep it rolling. Seminoles win.
I got Florida State.
I got the Knowles.
I got Florida State as well.
Now the spread pick. Ohio State is favored by 31.5 at home against Michigan State. And I have them covering just because Michigan State's bad.
Yeah, Michigan State is terrible. Ohio State's covering.
Agreed. Michigan State's the worst team in the Big Ten.
Yeah, I got Ohio State covering. I'm pretty shitty at these spread picks, but we'll just guess.
Sure, they're hard. They're hard. I'm going to go with no, actually. I don't think Ohio State, they haven't really covered a lot of their big spreads this year. So I'm going to go with no.
Utah at Washington, big Pac-12 game. I'm going to pick Washington to win. I think it is going to be a close, good game, though, because Washington struggled recently. But they do still come out on top here.
Yeah, I agree with Max. Washington has struggled, but I think they are still a little bit better, so I'm taking the Huskies and Michael Penix.
Yeah, I agree with Max as well. I got Washington.
Yeah, I agree with Max. I got Washington.
Yeah, I agree with Max, too. I'm going Washington. I'm going to hedge my dog.
It's a good idea. We love a good hedge. Tennessee and Mizzou, a sneaky good ranked matchup here. Number 13, number 14. 1 point spread. This could go anyway. But I think Mizzou has looked impressive. They proved me wrong last week. Not in terms of my pick. I had Georgia. But they looked good. So I'm going to go with Mizzou to win this one.
Yeah, Mizzou's kind of been an impressive team this year, so I'm taking them.
Yeah, I agree with Max. I'm going to take Missouri.
I'm rolling with Vegas here. I'm going with the Vols.
I'm going to go with Mizzou as well. Yeah, nothing else to say about that one.
Next, Headley's game of the week. Can't wait for this one. Huge for the Big Ten West standings. Rutgers at Iowa. Lowest over-under probably in history, and it's going to beat it by a couple points. It opened at 28.5, and it hasn't moved, which is awesome. Been waiting for us to go below that 30 mark. I have Rutgers winning this game. They have a better quarterback and better offense and a defense that's been playing pretty good too. So Scarlet Knights win and keep Nebraska in the driver's seat.
Yep, I'm taking Rutgers. I don't want to see Iowa win.
Hey, I agree. I will not be going for Iowa in this game. I'm going for Rutgers all the way, but I do think Iowa wins. This is textbook Iowa football, how this game is going to play out. I mean, Iowa wins these kind of games.
I got Iowa here 13-6.
This is not a homer pick for myself. I do think Rutgers wins this game. I think, Max, you're right. Their offense is better. Their defense is all right, but Iowa's offense is so fucking bad. You can have a terrible defense.
Are you accounting for a pick six, Brad?
Yeah, that's a hard thing. Is you got to account for this fucking special team and defensive touchdowns for Iowa.
Are you accounting for Rutgers starting on their own 3-yard line every drive?
You guys are
I'm
saying that their offense is better, but every single team Iowa played the whole year's offense is better.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
But I think Rutgers, comparatively to like Northwestern and Minnesota, has a better offense.
I think the Rutgers quarterback Gavin Wimsatt too. He's played pretty good ball this year. So
You ain't gonna do shit against Iowa. You ain't gonna do fucking shit.
he might start for every single Big Ten West team, and he plays for Rutgers. All right, moving on from this. Super looking forward to that game though. 28.5. I hope it's 3-2 Rutgers. Minnesota at Purdue. This line is even. Vegas thinks this is a toss-up. I don't think it's a toss-up. I think Minnesota is going to win by a touchdown at least. Unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think Minnesota will win because I think Hudson Card is just god awful.
Yeah, I agree with Max. I'm going to go with Minnesota.
Yeah, I got Minnesota. Kaliak Manis, he's just so good.
Give me the Fighting Devin Maccabees and the Boilermakers. I hope they run all over Minnesota. The Golden Goofoo.
I like it. We could use that one. Another massive game for the Big Ten West standings. Now we get into the two big games of the weekend. Two top 10 matchups. We'll start with Ole Miss at Georgia, number 9. At number 2, Georgia 10.5-point favorites. I think they are too strong. They're going to win this game and therefore move up in my rankings next week.
I've been saying it's Ole Miss's year all year. It's not their year to beat Georgia. Give me the Bulldogs.
Yeah, I've got two predictions for this game. One is that Georgia covers, and two is that there is a very funny Lane Kiffin headline after the game.
Good bets.
Yeah, I got Georgia. They just don't lose football games.
Yeah, give me Georgia. Got them to win the SEC for some schmeckles. So
The other top 10 matchup, this one's in the Big Ten East. It's between those three teams that we love when they face off. Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, always some good football, always big ratings on TV, must-watch football. Number 3, Michigan, at number 10, Penn State, in Happy Valley. I don't think that's enough to overcome what I've seen out of Michigan this year. Same case with Georgia. They get the win and move up in my personal rankings next week.
Did Ohio State play at Penn State?
No, that is in Columbus, Ohio.
Okay. I'm taking Michigan. I think they're the better team all around. Penn State has looked shaky in some games.
I am taking Michigan, and I think I'm going to take a bunch of schmeckles across the river and put them on Michigan to cover.
I got Michigan, and I think it's going to be right around that spread.
I'm going to go Michigan. I am very disappointed this is not a night game and that Penn State's whiteout was wasted on Iowa.
Maybe Penn State is doing – they do multiple different patterns. Maybe they're doing something good for this one. I don't know.
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so
I
too.
wish it was a night game.
That damn big noon kickoff, man.
Fucking Fox.
All right. Screw big noon kickoff, though. The big games get Peacock, and that's what we got in Maryland and Nebraska this weekend. The biggest game of them all. Matt, have I said this before this episode? Massive for the Big Ten West standings? Because this one fits that definition as well. I'm going to go with the Huskers in a bounce-back game. They're 2.5-point dogs. But again, bounce-back defense plays better. 23-16. Nebraska has a really good red zone defense. And I think that holds true against Maryland. They hold them to a lot of field goals, hence that 16-point score. 23-16, Nebraska wins.
Yeah, I also have Nebraska here. I think our defense will bounce back and our offense, hopefully we run the ball. We kind of learned that Harvard can't throw it in the last couple games. I got Nebraska here 20-17 covering that spread.
Yeah, I think Nebraska bullies this Tua guy. At least 3 picks, and Nebraska wins easily.
I got Maryland. Harburg throws a couple picks. They bring in Chuba. He throws in a couple picks too. 2013.
I'm going to go Nebraska. We're going to have a record-setting 12 turnovers, so we're going to be at 0 for the turnover margin. And I am going to go with the score of 27-21 just because. I have no rhyme or reason to that one.
Sometimes the just because works the best.
It really does.
Like Headley's 3-legger in the NFL on Sunday. That also made me some money. Nice bet there, Headley.
Dude, I hated that bet, but
Dude, that was a great
worked.
I'm going to take that money, and I really think I am going to bet it on Michigan. I don't see a chance Penn State keeps it close.
I think Michigan could win by a touchdown. I don't think it's a terrible bet.
I think Michigan could win by 4 touchdowns.
I would like that.
Wouldn't mind it.
Go those cheating bastards. Go blue.
They did you see Michigan starting to do a little turntable in the rest of the Big Ten West
They're
and
pointing
stuff?
their finger at everybody else.
This
Dude,
is
I love it.
nasty, and I love it. I saw on Reddit, like, Washington and Oregon fans on Reddit were like, what conference are we joining?
It's so
Like
funny.
the espionage.
It's so funny.
It is awesome. I love
It's
the
actually
Big Ten
just-
right now.
It's crazy how much the story has just developed over the last week.
Yeah, it is.
They Creighton's about to tip off, and Nick Baugh and Kevin Kubler are on the call. So
Yeah, I
maybe
say
we'll
that's.
check that.
I think we need to get out of here.
All
Yeah,
boys.
you don't want
Yeah,
to
let's
watch
do it.
their
Wait,
first
let me
possession.
stall. Let me stall so that I can decide if I want Rutgers Iowa under as my lock. I'm gonna go with it.
And thanks, guys. Episode's over.
All right. Anyway, thanks everyone for listening. Like you were saying, Brad, Iowa Rutgers under. That is my lock. I'm going with it. Screw it.
Do it for the culture.
And go Big Red, man. We need this win. Let's stay in the hunt. Let's get to a bowl game. Stay in the hunt for the Big Ten West. Let's do it. I'm ready. I'm pumped.
All right, let's close this thing out. We got to watch a Creighton game. As always, go Big Red.
Go Hawks.
Go Husker basketball.
Stay safe.
Hawk basketball.
Good shout, Brad.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Okay.
Gotta go.
My
Hey, guys,
brother.
I gotta
brother
peace
left.
out right away. I gotta peace
I
out
said,
right
did
away
you
later.
do you have the
Later, fellas.
recording?